Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wishes on the Moon. I'm sorry, I just did a big burp. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. I don't know if the camera recorded it or not, but that burp surprised the hell out of me. It came from nowhere. But for those of you who do not know, my name is Dia, aka OreoOasis.com. My information is in the description below. Check that out. Um, and this week we're talking about psychic attacks versus spiritual connection. Okay, now I'm not sure where I want to go with this or how I want to start. Okay. So a psychic attack is when either, spirits start messing with you or someone is sending negative energy your way and things like that. A spiritual connection is basically you connect to spirit, which I believe everybody has a spiritual connection. Just everybody doesn't everybody to me spiritual connection is just like a muscle. Everybody has muscles, but not everybody use muscles. Not everybody find certain muscles important. Some not everybody works different muscles. Some find the brain muscles more important. Some find the erotic muscles more important. Some find lifting weights more important, so they want their arms. Look at that. Clearly I don't care about arm muscles. Some people lift weights with their legs. They find their leg muscles more important. So everybody has a spiritual connection. I believe it's just that not everybody uses that connection heavily to make it stronger or to make it faster. I would say to make it louder when spirits are trying to connect with you. Now, as far as a psychic attack versus spiritual connection, how would you know the difference? Well, a spiritual connection more so warn you from harming yourself, whereas a psychic connection might throw you in. Well, a psychic attack, I'm sorry, will pretty much try to throw you in harm's way. Um, a psychic attack will make you love what's bad for you. Things that so I rather it, this time it's talking about this topic gets a little hard because a lot of times when you talk about this topic you can't avoid that topic of suicide, um, and with that a lot of times um, with bringing in suicide is I tend to think a little differently. Sometimes it's psychic attack, sometimes it's not, but some people tend to think it's all a psychic attack to get someone to commit suicide, but it also depends on how you was raised, the culture you was raised in, and the spirituality you was raised with. I tend to think a little bit more broad on that, but I don't want to go too deep because I don't want people to think that it's okay to commit homicide because I do not believe in giving up. That's just me in my own personal experience and my own personal opinions. I do not believe in quitting or just giving up. Ride this thing till the wheels fall off. That's how I believe. Um, but with that, I would say the things that could increase a psychic attack is definitely drugs and alcohol, because now you're a little more relaxed. Your things are down, so that could definitely increase a psychic attack. Listen to the same things over and over and over again. Certain tone pitches can increase a psychic attack. Like there's a certain pitch that for everybody, it's a different pitch per person. That when they hear it, it just does something where it knocks their spiritual equilibrium off, and that makes it easier for a psychic attack. Like for some people, it's drones. For some people, it's the higher pitched tones. For some people, it's slow music that puts them in a trance. For other people, it's that really really fast music where they can't think. The pitches are different per person. You know. Other things open for living in a negative state all the time definitely opens you up for a psychic attack. And by being in a negative state, I don't mean the things around you. I mean the thought patterns in your head. When you think negative thoughts a whole lot, that attracts like attracts like. So when you're thinking negative thoughts all the time, other negative things are like, hey, it's a party over there. Let's go over there. And they come, and it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and it's hard to pull yourself out of it. And It's a lot, basically, when it comes to psychic attacks. So, that's different versus spiritual connection. Now, on the flip side, though, there are some things that people are thinking are psychic attacks that are actually just a strong spiritual connection or maybe your particular kind of spiritual gift. For example, for a long time, I heard voices, and I'm not going to say that I still don't because that is duh how I talk to ghosts and other spirits and stuff. But for a long time, I didn't understand it, and I had so many things done to me because they thought I was possessed, and they thought it was psychic attack, and it wasn't a psychic attack; it was a spiritual connection. It was my gift, but because of the misunderstanding, they didn't know. However, I do want to address really quickly, if I can, when speaking of psychic attack versus spiritual connection, there's also an element of mental illness that comes into this conversation, and I do not all mental illness is some type of psychic attack. Not all mental illness is some type of spiritual connection. So with that, when we're looking at these things and trying to figure out whether it's one or the other, I do not want people to skip over the fact that it may be a mental illness, a glitch in the brain that needs to be addressed physically as opposed to just spiritually. It needs to be addressed physically from a professional who works in that area. So I just want to throw that out there so that, because a lot of times we try to pass it off as people who are schizophrenic are talking to people in other realms. While that may be possible, they also live in this realm. So there is a mental thing that needs to go on, that needs to happen, that needs to be helped from a mental perspective. And then once we get that covered, then we can go back and figure out how to reestablish the connection if that person wants the connection, and how to make it work for them that'll benefit them as opposed to um, being destructive for them. So I just want to that part I do want to address. Other than that, let's see, spiritual connection. Oh, I was talking about myself and spiritual connection. Okay, so as a child, I heard things. I was able to see ghosts, things like that. So of course, that freaked people out. Of course, coming from a Catholic background, that's a big no-no. Nope, that child need to be exorcised. We're going to exorcise those demons. So I was when that didn't work. Then they just played the ignore game. Told me to ignore it, and then went away for a while. Then it came back with a vengeance. But then I learned to work with it. I learned to live with it. I will say though, for people who do have certain gifts and things like that, especially small children, don't brush it off. I wouldn't say entertain it like it's a plaything. Take it seriously. I would say just make sure that it's not a mental illness, even though sometimes they can overlap. But you do not want to ignore the mental illness part. There's a lot of people in the spiritual. I can come back to the mental illness part because there's a lot of people that I've seen in the spiritual community who either they were praised as having a great spiritual connection, or they're praised or they're put down as having a spiritual attack. And what it really is just the thing that's going on in here that connects to there. This had a glitch. The mental part had a glitch, and that part need to be addressed. And no one's addressing it because they're too far into the spiritual realm to forget that we have to focus in this particular realm here. We have to look in this physical as well as spiritual, and the connection between both is the mind. So with that, we also have to bring the aspect of the mentality and the brain into this and how that works. So with so while that part's covered, spiritual attacks normally, again, it's an attack. It's something that when it comes, you'll know it's coming because it starts with the harmful thoughts. Whereas a spiritual connection, while the thoughts won't always be the greatest thoughts, is not meant to harm you. I don't want anybody to think that all spiritual connections are going to have fluffy, lovey-dovey thoughts and rainbow farts and all that. No. True spiritual connection doesn't judge that way, but they will guide you on a path that's going to be for your good, which as a spiritual attack is meant to harm. Period, point blank. There's no spiritual attack that's meant to bless. Not going to happen. Never happened. So with that, I think that's where I'm gonna wrap up this video. Where I hope I explained it. At least I hope I explained it from my understanding. I hope y'all get something out of it. I hope that when you're talking to others about it, it opens up the conversation as the bridge between the mind and the spirit and the body, because the bridge is the mind between the spirit and the body, and the bridge got to be right, or everything's going to go bonkers. Um, so that's it for this video. Um, don't forget to comment, rate. If y'all watched my previous video, y'all would know why I'm stressing the T. But don't forget to comment, rate, and subscribe if you have not already. Why not? You've been watching these videos, you might as well subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to watch everybody else's video. See, talk too fast. Don't forget to watch everybody else's videos. Don't forget to comment on everybody else's videos. And stay blessed and stay a blessing. I'll see y'all next week.